And so this week we're going to talk about how to get out of our own way in creating the life of our dreams. And so one of the things we're talking about here, what's the real crux of what we're talking about here, is surrender. And in surrender, built into surrender, is trust. Now, I would love to tell you that surrender feels different from giving in, giving up, or caving. But to be honest with you, that's not my personal experience. My personal experience is sometimes surrender very much feels like giving up, giving in, or caving. And yet, when I have fully surrendered and allowed things to just fall apart however they were going to fall apart, what has grown out of that has been something new and brilliant. So that it didn't matter how I actually felt about it. What mattered was whether I was willing to fully release it, let it go, and let happen whatever was going to happen. Now, I know at this point in my life that when I do that, there is a higher me, a divine me, a larger divinity that actually holds me and lifts me and picks me up. But my earliest recognition of surrender, I did not know those things. Now, Julie, maybe you know the story of when I was given 3 days to live. But it fits really perfectly into what it is we're talking about today. I was in the hospital with a 106-degree fever. And the doctors came to me and said, "We have tried everything to heal you. Everything we know to do. And so you're not getting any better. You still have this 106-degree fever, so you're going to die. You need to get your affairs in order." And I would love to tell you that I, in that moment, made some stand about, no, I will be healthy and live and set my intention. But the truth of the matter is that I said, okay, I'm going to die. That's the way it is. I have 3 days to live. The stand I made was not to die in the hospital. So I said, I'm going to check myself out and go home. They said I couldn't, and I said, actually, I can, and ripped the IVs out of my arm. Called my ex-wife, said, please come get me, take me home. Which she did. And so I was in my bed at home, which overlooked our backyard and a lake, a really beautiful view. And I was with my wife and child, thinking this is how I was going to die. And fell into a deep place of surrender and acceptance. I was in a lot of pain, so the actual idea of dying didn't seem so bad to me, because 106 gets into your bones, and it's a lot of pain. So I was in a deep place of surrender. Up to this point in my life, I had been very anti anything that wasn't Western medicine. But from this deep place of surrender, the phone rang, and it was a friend of mine who said, you know you're not into this hooey stuff, but since you're going to die anyway, why don't you go check out this healing? And I thought to myself, from this deep place of surrender, since I'm going to die anyway, why not? And so I went to somebody I would have never gone to if it wasn't for being in such a deep place of surrender. And this man put me on a table, and he pulled and pushed at me and for 45 minutes, and then said, okay, that'll be $125, and sent me home. And that night my fever dropped to 101. Now 101 isn't healed, but it's not dead. And from that place forward, from that place of surrender, the next step occurred to me to do, and the next step, and the next step, which had to do with selling my business, selling my house, heading south, landing in a town I had never heard of called Asheville, and being introduced to the healer that helped bring me to the best health of my life. But it all started from a place of surrender where I thought I had 3 days to live. And so we approach this life, so many times from a place of we've got to make it work. And I've noticed that there are certain words that we use, either inside our head or we speak them out loud, that tell us when we have come up against a wall, that tell us when we have pushed too far, or tell us when we have gone beyond enough is enough, that told us when we are at the end of our rope. And these lines consist of, I'm lost. I'm at the end of my rope. I'm exhausted. I don't know what else to do. Or any of the derivatives of those sort of things. There are many things, but they come into our heads or we wind up speaking them out loud, and they are red flags to tell us, wait. Because what happens when we go too far is our health and well-being falls apart. Now it may be. And once our health and well-being falls apart, so does the thing we've been trying to hold together anyway. Sooner or later, if the thing we're working to hold together and make work is somehow against or works against what I call our soul intention, when we set intentions that sometimes run afar from our soul intention, I believe those are the moments in which something happens that makes it feel like we're just up against a wall. And so it's at those times that it's ours to surrender. And surrendering is like one of those trust falls. Right? Have you ever done a trust fall where you stand there and you fall back and people catch you? Well, instead of people, it is our higher self. It is our divinity that catches us. Now, sometimes it doesn't feel like we were caught. Sometimes it feels like our fall is really far. It feels like unraveling. It feels like things are falling apart, crumbling away. And we don't know when that crumbling is going to stop. But when we can trust and deeply surrender, we are held within the soft embrace of the divine. We are held in ways that we would have never thought possible. And what flourishes out of that is usually something completely different than we had in mind. And yet we look at it after like I look at my life after. 20 years since that time they told me I had 3 days to live. My life doesn't look anything like I had anticipated at that time. And yet, I am in awe of it. And so I have learned through the years that working hard is good. Following the next steps in front of me is good. But when I feel up against it, when I hear myself saying stuff like, I'm exhausted, I'm at the end of my rope, I am unraveling, then it's time to let go and let whatever I'm holding on to unravel, not me unravel. It's time to just let go, surrender, and let my higher divinity show me what is next, what is mine to do, and stop holding on to something that is clearly not, because there's nothing that is mine to do that would unravel me. There is nothing that is yours to do that would exhaust you, that would leave you lost, that would leave you feeling like you're banging your head against the wall. There is nothing that will leave you feeling your well-being out of order. And so it's really important to take a look at how we go about that which is our intention to do. And know when that project, or whatever it is, our intention in terms of what we want to create, has brought us to a place beyond enough is enough. To where if we were to surrender, maybe it won't happen anywhere near the way we thought it would. Maybe it'll be completely different. If we can surrender deep enough, I guarantee that the call from outside or inside will arrive. And it will say, hey, now that you've surrendered, maybe before you would have never thought to try this, but why don't you try this now? And it will be something completely different, out of the realm of what you had thought or imagined. And it will lead you to brilliance and a life of miracles. So work hard. Move forward on that which is important for you to do. At the moment you hear any of those red flags, exhausted, hitting your head against the wall, lost, end of your rope, those are the times to let go. Okay, now I offer it up. I've done my part here. Now it's time to offer it up so that I don't unravel, so that you don't unravel, so that health and well-being prevail. Let's do a meditation. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes and relax. And as we do here, imagine yourself on a path, the perfect path, that leads you to your sanctuary, the most perfect, safe place for you. And there is a chair there. It is the perfect chair. When you sit in it, you feel the ah of sitting in that perfect chair. Take another deep breath and relax even more. And from this deep place of relaxation, imagine yourself held in the arms of the divine. Imagine just taking a deep breath, letting it out, and melting into the arms of this beautiful, magnificent force that is holding and loving. Hear this essence whisper to you, I got this. You don't have to hold this anymore. I've got this. Feel these loving arms surrounding you. lifting you up, holding you. Feel the warmth, the love, the support. Hear and take in the words, I've got this. You can let it go. Now imagine yourself melting into these arms so that you and this divine presence are one. You are now much larger than you were moments ago, resting in this power, in this presence. Imagine spreading your wings and where they flutter, you create exactly your highest and best. Imagine your life's intention unfolding before your eyes in magnificence and beauty. And you fully resting. Feel yourself fully resting in the embrace of the divine that you are as your life unfolds magnificently. Thank yourself for this experience of the divine, of knowing that your larger self has got this. And when you're ready, open your eyes.